Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Captain's Quarters, the unofficial Star Trek Rewatch podcast, where we are rewatching the entire Star Trek franchise, starting at the beginning of the chronology. My name is Gabe, and I'm with my co-captain, Jason. Make it so, Jason.
Hello there.
So, this is an exciting day for Jason and I because we are starting a new series. We're starting Star Trek Discovery. We went through all four seasons of Star Trek Enterprise. We did a podcast episode for every single episode of Star Trek Enterprise.
Yes, sir.
And the next one in the official timeline is Star Trek Discovery. So here
Yeah.
we are. And
I have quibbles about it, but we'll get into it.
yeah, I do too. And I value your opinion a lot more than mine.
No, 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 no,
Um,
no, 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 no. That's not how we work here, buddy.
so pre-production, Jason and I were texting because I kind of floated the idea like, well, what if we did like release order? What if we abandon this whole timeline thing?
Mm-hmm.
It goes back to that whole debate of if someone had never seen Star Wars, which Star Wars would you tell them to watch first? Jason, go.
Uh, Rogue One, episodes 4, 5,
Oh my God.
6, 1, 2, 3, and 7, 8, 9. You can skip.
You,
What about you?
you might be the only person alive who would recommend starting with Rogue One.
I might be, and I'm okay with that.
Oh my gosh.
What about you,
Wow.
buddy?
Yeah, I would definitely do 4, 5, 6. I would do release order.
Okay, because I know, we both know, because you and I are old, we would do
Yeah.
it that way.
Hmm.
But we know people of a younger audience or I'm sorry, either younger audience members or was introduced to Star Wars differently. And I think we both have had discussions with other people that they would do it the way they've seen it. So I have a bunch of friends who were introduced to episodes 1, 2, and 3 first, and that's how they would do it. They would watch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then I know some other folks that was introduced to Star Wars in the Disney era. So 7, 8, 9, and then, however, whatever the case might be. And that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I can confirm because I tend to rub elbows with people who are 10 to 15 years younger than me because of the Zelda community. A lot of
Yeah.
those people are younger than me. Um,
Oh,
and I can say for sure that they they were kids
mm-hmm.
when 1, 2, 3 came out, and they have a much different connection to it
Yeah,
than I do.
exactly.
So they definitely hold it in a higher regard than a lot of people our age, and definitely the Gen Xers, the Gen X Star Wars fans,
Yeah, definitely.
despise those movies. So um,
And we all have our reasons, and I'm
mhm.
sure we may get into it some other point, but yeah, we all have our reasons and we will argue tooth and nail that, the ones that we were introduced to, were the best ones.
Right, yeah. So with that being said,
That being said,
being aware of that, it was like, well, should we be doing this in release order? Because everybody who's doing some version of what we're doing, and everyone who created the shows, um, did that. They started with the
the
source
original
material.
series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But then we would have to change what, 100 and how many episodes of, and because your intro, we'd have to go into voiceover and go in release order.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah.
Uh, Yeah. So, and then I had the thought, I was like, well, because Discovery, I think, is still being produced. So then I had the thought of like,
Yeah,
well,
but it's coming to an end.
I was like, well, if we got caught up,
Yeah,
we could be part of like the actual Star Trek zeitgeist as opposed to being 20 years behind like we were
maybe.
for the last 3 years. But then I
Ye-
saw on the timeline, season 3 is for some reason, I don't know how or why, it's after Picard.
Yeah, so yeah, that's a one-off though. But I think because I think they come back, don't they?
No, dude, I don't know anything about this show
Yeah,
other than this one episode.
yeah, this is the one series that as a Star Trek fan, I admit I have stayed away from since 20. I mean, I haven't seen it. The the other night, yesterday, what's time? Um, was the first time I saw it, and it goes back what I think 2017, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, it aired September 24th, 2017.
Okay.
So I've made my peace with this decision.
Yeah,
So
no, I'm excited. We may catch up to it even before it ends. Maybe.
yeah. Okay, let's talk about it.
Let's go.
We'll get into it deeper.
Yep, make it so.
So first of all, in speaking of timelines, we do get a good solid star date right off the gate. Um, so it is May 11th, and the year is 2256.
Yeah.
So we're looking at 100 years after
Or
Enterprise.
Stardate 1207.3.
Wow, I don't even know how you did that or what that was.
No, I
What
think she
is
says it.
what does that mean?
It's pretty early in the Stardate, I guess, because it still only has four main Stardates, 1207.3. So it's still pretty early.
Are those years?
It's it's interesting. It's I've seen different renditions of it, but it's like day, month, something, or rather, someone please, correct me if I'm wrong, but or remind us what it actually means. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Commander Burnham includes, I mean, she says the star date plus the date on Earth.
Okay. So,
So I don't remember what the star date actually stands for.
okay. Hey, buddy,
Yeah.
how confident are you in pronouncing some of the things in this show?
Oh, I'm gonna be very I'm gonna say niche. Because
Oh,
right
okay.
off the bat, Michelle Yeoh's character, Captain Giorgio. See, I'm on shaky ground already.
Yeah.
Is it
Okay.
Giorgio?
You know what, buddy? Her first
Okay.
name is Philippa.
Yeah, I remember that. And
So
even then, I still have issues.
we can just say Captain Philippa, right?
Yeah, we can absolutely do that.
Okay. So we got that one.
Okay,
But the what is the ship called?
the Shenzhou, the USS Shenzhou.
Shenzhou.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was named after a Chinese maritime explorer. Someone correct me. Maybe not even maritime, but um, philosopher. Maybe I don't know.
What
I
does
don't remember.
maritime mean?
Oh, on the high sea, on the seas. So like um, who's a good they all kind of not so good. I want to be very careful. Who was a maritime explorer that could potentially not be so offensive? Um,
Leif
Captain
Erikson.
Cook. Captain
Oh,
Cook.
okay.
Oh yeah, like Leif Erikson. Okay, great. Yes, Leif
Okay.
Erikson. He was a maritime explorer.
When would a ship not be maritime,
No, no, no,
though?
no, 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 no. That would differentiate um, between a land explorer and a maritime explorer, right? Because Sacagawea did not led Lewis and Clark. They weren't maritime explorers.
So the maritime
Is
describes the
strictly
person, not the ship.
it's the it's the means in which they explored
Got it. Okay. No, I never knew that.
on the seas, because
Okay.
that would differentiate between, a space explorer or a Terra explorer. Would you call it Astro Explorer? Do we call them Astro Explorers? Do we have Astro? Yeah, we have Astro Explorers.
Aren't they just astronauts?
Yeah, right. But like in general, right?
Yeah.
If we were to use those terms, I
Okay.
believe they would be like an Astro Explorer.
Okay. Okay. Now, what about
The Klingon, Takuvma.
no, I won't
Oh, sorry, jump the gun.
no, I won't put you through that. I was just gonna say the Klingons.
Now I'm pretty
But
sure the lead the guy, the male Klingon who's opens his name is Takuvma.
okay. All right.
But go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. I think we're good. I think we got this.
Okay,
So, okay, here's the deal.
here we go.
This show opens with Klingons who look very different than any Klingons I've ever seen,
Yes.
who are in a sort of rally, like a war cry, like rally, like, hey, we need to go kill those who say we come in peace. And
Yes.
they're obviously talking about Starfleet.
Mm-hmm.
And so we meet Captain Philippa and First Officer Michael Burnham. And what is the actress who plays Michael Burnham?
Sonequa Martin Green.
So I recognize Sonequa
Oh,
from
really? Oh,
The Walking Dead.
oh, okay.
Yeah, she plays a pretty prominent role for many years in The Walking Dead.
Oh, okay, okay,
I think her character's name is Sasha.
okay.
Um, so I immediately knew her from that. So anyone from The Walking Dead,
Yeah,
she's
I
Sasha.
didn't know her from anywhere else. Don't watch that much
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah, so they have a kind of an intro sequence, which I'm not going to talk about. But they back on the Shenzhou, they are sent to investigate a relay that is busted up,
Mm-hmm.
and they're trying to investigate what's going on. And it's kind of like a deep space one. So it's an important relay, and it's kind of the last one between deep space and Starfleet. And they detect an anomaly where their sensors are getting jammed. So they go to investigate. They can't really figure out how to do it safely. First Officer Burnham volunteers to spacewalk to the anomaly. And here is pretty quickly where I was taken out of the episode mentally, because her spacesuit was so high tech.
You lasted longer than me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Her spacesuit was so high tech.
Yeah.
See, I felt like Enterprise made a concerted effort to keep a linear trajectory of technology so that it had the appearance of seamlessly leading into the original series. And that's one thing I think Star Wars does an excellent job of.
They do. They do.
Star Wars really tries hard
They do.
to not have excessive like digital displays when there should be analog or something, or like they
Yes,
have like physical buttons on things.
I
A lot of
completely
times
agree
it,
with that.
yeah, comes
Yeah,
across as really campy and forced, but you can see what they're doing. They're like, well, it doesn't make sense if we do it this way and it's before this thing. So
they do. They do.
this show, I don't even know who the
Yeah,
showrunner is.
yeah.
Directed by David Semmel,
It's Alex
produced
Kurtzman, and you know, I think it's Alex
Brian
Kurtzman.
Fuller.
Yeah,
I don't know these people.
yeah.
Um, yeah, looks like Brian Fuller had experience on Voyager and Deep Space Nine. Um,
Okay.
yeah, but
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I
yeah. I
don't
agree
know
with you.
anything about these showrunners.
10 years before Kirk, and the ship, not just the spacesuit, but the ship too. But keep going. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, no, I'm glad you said that because the ship has like holographic displays,
yeah. I know.
flat out, just like sort of digital UI, and none of it appears to be before Kirk.
Yes, 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 yes. I completely agree.
And it shouldn't be a big deal because this is just like aesthetics, but like it
It
took me out of it completely.
it does. It does. It does. I'm with you on that one. 100%. 100%.
So and so that comment sticks for this entire discussion because every scene
Yes.
has that issue.
Yes. 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 I'm with you 100%.
And to the point where it almost feels like they tried to make a generic sci-fi show. Like this could have been anything. This could have
Yeah.
been some brand new franchise or story, and then they slapped the Star Trek name on it. Like it
Yeah.
felt like generic space sci-fi.
Yep.
Um,
Yes.
to a point, but we'll get to in a second.
Yeah.
Okay. So she goes investigates the anomaly, and there is this like bird contraption that expands its wings, and it when she touches it, it responds. A Klingon in a spacesuit confronts her, and she happens to like fall on the Klingon with a blade and kills or his own blade. His own
Yeah.
blade kills him.
Hmm.
She's able to get away. We get a little flashback of her upbringing. She was apparently trained by Vulcans. And so this episode is called the Vulcan Hello. And so in her training, once she gets back to the Shenzo, she says there's only one way to deal with Klingons. The Vulcans learned this 100 or 200 years ago. As soon as you meet a Vulcan, you immediately fire on them because
You
the
mean a
only
Klingon?
language. Oh, what did I
When you
say?
meet a Vulcan?
Well, when the Vulcans would meet a Klingon,
Yeah.
they
Yeah. Yeah.
would
Okay.
they would
Okay.
fire
Yeah.
on the Klingons, and because that's the only language that Klingons speak, and they they respect you. Then the alternative is to show weakness, and they pounce on that and they destroy you. And so she is like dead set on this, but she's not the captain's. Captain Philippa Michelle Yeoh is the captain, and she's sort of emphatically trying to like tell her this is what you have to do. You have to do this. Um, there's also a science officer, Saru. Is that his name?
Yep. Saru. Yep.
Um, he's very analytical. Um, he's definitely at odds with Burnham. They're butting heads. Burnham and Philip are butting heads, and it kind of comes to a point where a Klingon vessel comes out of cloaking right in front of their ship, and she's like, we have to attack them right now. And then openly defies Philippa in front of everyone on the bridge. And then Philippa takes her into like the captain's quarters and says, um, don't do that in front of everybody. And then Burnham does the Vulcan
The neck
pinch,
pinch, yeah.
the
The neck
neck
pinch,
pinch
yeah.
on Philippa, knocks her unconscious, comes back in the bridge and says she's assuming command, and she orders them to fire on the Klingon ship. Um, and so it doesn't work. So what happens after she orders them to fire on the ship,
So
Jason?
there is a discussion. There's kind of
Mhm.
this tense moment, and before they can fire, Captain Georgiou, Philippa, Michelle Yeoh, his kind of is revived. She's awakened, and she comes onto the bridge, and she aims, and she's like, stand down, commander, and she points her phaser.
Yeah.
And then in that moment, there are the white light that kind of has been blinding the ship kind of dissipates, and then we see, half a dozen Klingon ships warp in, and
Yep.
then it's a standoff between the main Klingon ship and then these little birds of prey, I guess. And then and then Shenzhou on the other side. And then I don't know how long is left before Federation backup is able to get there. Because we
Okay.
know that there was a timestamp earlier in the episode that the Admiral is sending a fleet or a backup, to aid the Shenzhou if they have to go on a standoff with the Klingons. And then the episode ends on a cliffhanger.
On a cliffhanger. So we
Yeah.
don't know what the conclusion of this standoff is.
No, we don't. I have a
And so
guess.
yeah. Well, the Vulcan who taught Burnham,
Yeah.
Sarek,
Yes. Spock's father.
not to what?
Yeah.
You serious?
I'm dead serious. And it's one of the things that kind of irks me. It's another one of those things that I'm like, did that really need to be a thing?
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so Sarek is the one who taught Burnham, but he's still alive. He's still around. So
Yeah.
she contacts Sarek, and he basically says the Klingons must have a new leader who's looking to bring order to the Klingon Empire
Yep.
because the Empire has been in disarray for centuries.
Yep.
At one point in this episode, somebody says nobody's seen a Klingon in 100 years. I was like, well,
Yeah.
how's that possible? But maybe that's how much distance they were keeping. They're literally like, do not go over there for 100 years. It just seems so unlikely that with interstellar travel, that when it bump into a
Well,
Klingon.
yeah, that has um that I could see that I could see as canon. That the Klingon Empire kind of and the Federation kind of have had this Cold War-ish kind of deal going on. I could see that for sure. But who knows?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So that was it. And so I did like the debate of how do we proceed and the calculated risk. I feel like that's a very uniquely Star Trek thing.
Yeah.
And uh, I did really kind of like that.
Me too.
Everything else bothered me. The
Okay.
the the Klingons who looked totally different,
Yeah,
their armor, also, they didn't say "Long live the Empire." They had a different thing. It just really felt like they retconned a lot of stuff,
Yeah,
and it felt like,
unnecessarily.
yeah, it felt like they
Unnecessarily.
were like, you know what, we need a fresh start. Let's do our own thing, and
Yeah,
then I don't know,
yeah. I,
man.
I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. 100%. I have the same misgivings of a lot of the things that you'll probably say. But go ahead.
Well, um, I mean, I think I kind of hit on it, just the aesthetics of it. It was just off.
Mhm.
I mean, I didn't hate it, and like I said, I was into the conflict between Burnham and Philippa. I thought that was really interesting.
Mhm.
And I noticed that it said guest starring Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah,
So I think we can assume that Burnham is going to ascend pretty quick
to the captaincy,
to
to the
rank
captain's
a
chair.
captain.
Yeah.
Yeah. But do you think we're going to see an Enterprise in this show? Or is it a ship called the Discovery? Is that what's going to happen?
Yeah. It will be, I think so. Okay, so the one thing I do know is that yes, at some point in some season, we will see the USS Enterprise because that is how Strange New Worlds came about.
Oh
Discovery
yeah.
runs into the Enterprise under the command of Captain Pike and Number One, and Anson Mount and Rebecca Romaine did such a great job, and Ethan Peck did such a great job at the episodes that they were in on this show, that they spun it off and created Strange New Worlds, which is a fantastic Star Trek. And now people will say, well, you just complain about the aesthetics about Discovery and the Shenzhou, and they applied it to the Enterprise. Yes, they did. And it is one of my complaints. However, that gets overtaken by how good the stories are. I can overlook the modern, the more futuristic. And that's the funny thing is, like, the more and more like they dig into the past in Star Trek, right? Like this one, it's more futuristic than Enterprise and the original series.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that same thing that we just talked about. I'm like, why can't you guys go back to the bubble buttons and the 60s, like in a more updated kind of thing, but bring us back to the history of, back to the past of that Kirk era kind of thing, and not make it so futuristic that it kind of takes it away from it, because we're in 2256, and so it even overshadows the Next Generation, the Deep Space Nine, and the Voyager um uh aesthetics. And so I kind of wish, I'm totally on board with you. So, but anyways, I do know that the Enterprise will come into play at some point. I don't know when. Um and so and so knowing that this show is called Discovery, I think that is going to be one of the things that the cliffhanger solves, is that I think they do get into a fight with the Klingons in the next episode. And I think the Shenzhou is probably like either really heavily damaged or destroyed. Um, and they're reassigned to the Discovery.
Yeah.
Which
Okay.
then I still have, even though I haven't seen the show, I've seen the ship and seen like snippets of it. I'm like, ugh, I don't,
Is
yeah,
it? It doesn't. look like the
It doesn't fit the canon. It
okay.
looks so future. Yeah, yeah. It's going to be a trying 5 seasons
Yikes. Okay.
for me,
Oh man.
unless the
Okay.
stories are like, they get, unless the stories are really good, I can get over it. But if it's, the Zindi conflict again in 2250, something like that, then I'm like,
I think the story has promise. And the fact that it hasn't been canceled yet, right?
yeah. No, it has. It has.
Oh,
I think
Discovery is canceled.
season 5, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, is the last season.
Well, it
Watch
made
me
it one
say all
season
of
longer
these
than
things, and then
Enterprise.
it becomes, I put my foot in my mouth, and it becomes my favorite, iteration of the franchise. Watch that happen. Famous last words.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm interested in the science officer. I wonder,
Saru.
yeah, you
Yeah.
notice that he's very defensive, and I wonder if it is the result of, like, because he's an alien
Yeah.
um on what looks like a human ship. I do wonder if he feels like he has to constantly defend his spot there and prove his worth,
Well,
because, like, maybe he feels some xenophobia,
maybe
and he's misconstruing
there
his
is
disagreements as like xenophobia or something. I
that
do
little snippet
Yeah.
of dialogue where he does say like he was bred so on his planet there there's a race that's bred to hunt and there's a that's bred to be the prey and
Mhm.
he's bred to be the prey and so he says something to the effect of we are born to be trained to sense death and he's like we need to withdraw,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
so yeah, so I think that explains a little bit of it, but yeah, I could see that and I'm like, okay, you know another new species, which is totally fine. It's totally fine that we get introduced to a new species that we've never heard of before.
Oh no.
Ah,
Oh no. I didn't even think of that.
yeah.
Well, I am interested to learn more about him and his species.
Me too.
I don't think we even really got the names of the other
No,
people
no.
on the bridge,
Mm-mm,
which is kind
mm-mm.
of a shame. That was one thing that Enterprise did really well, was like getting to know the main cast,
Yeah,
solidifying them in the
yeah.
story. Um,
That
yeah,
could point to that they may not make it
yeah,
in this battle, right?
hmm
We'll see who makes it.
yeah,
Because I could see them like because they said special guest star, Michelle Yeoh, she may not make it. I don't know.
right. I don't think she's gonna make it.
Yeah. And then but to their credit though, it is interesting to see that the main character is commander at the moment, not the captain. Because a lot of times
Hmm.
it's the captain that is the quote unquote
Yeah,
main character. I mean, we all
seems
may
like
have our
that's
favorites,
always the case, right?
right? Yeah, we may have our favorites.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's interesting to see that it's the commander,
Right.
first officer, the number one.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, so I think that's a good point, that maybe they do, and then we'll meet everyone on the Discovery, and then that'll be the cast that we
Yeah,
know and love.
Yeah,
But I mean, I assume Saru is going to make it.
yes,
Yeah.
me too.
So I don't know. It did feel like it was trying to be like a big budget action sci-fi, and I'm not necessarily interested in that. But as long as they keep some interesting conflicts like they had in this one,
Mm-hmm. What'd
I'm
you think of the
okay.
mutiny?
I'll figure it out.
What'd you think of the mutiny? I want to go deeper on that.
Yeah, I think that was like that Star Trekiness that I'm always talking
Right,
about.
right.
It's the preemptive thing that I feel like I've said 1,000 times, where it's like when people say, if we don't do this, then this will happen. And they use the this will happen, quote unquote, as justification to take a course of action that could have dire consequences, or result in loss of life, etc. But it's like, you know what is one life versus many lives? It's like you know the whole nuclear bomb justification. if we don't
Bad.
if we don't scorch hundreds of thousands of people, then millions of people will die. And you say it with certainty, we know this will happen, and then you convince other people to follow that course of action.
Right,
and and who knows, because it's a future that we never see, so who knows if that was true.
right.
And I realize it's a sensitive subject, so I'm, without talking too much more about that, but I just think that, in my experience, people are very bad at predicting the future.
Yes, we are horrible.
Yeah, and anytime an action is taken with dire consequences, I, just being a child of the era of the Iraqi war and stuff like that, I always just kind of like dig my heels and be like, whoa, wait a minute. Um, but I am very interested in that kind of conflict. I feel like it's exactly what's happening here. She's saying we need to strike first, which is in the human world not like the most ethical thing to do, but you know, it's a different. The Klingon thing's a whole other dimension. So I don't know. I'm interested in it, and it definitely made me think about it. And in the fact that it was the Vulcans who basically taught her that and were condoning it. And now that I know that it was Spock's father, it gives even more credence to it, right? So you're like, oh, that is the right thing to do. You know what I mean? So,
I'm not certain.
okay.
I'm not certain. Yeah, I don't know about that. Um, and to kind of loosely quote Spock, for Burnham to live on Vulcan for so long, not raise a family on Vulcan, but she doesn't. Yeah, I know she's a human, but like she, I don't know if the quote unquote Vulcan hello would have worked in that situation, right? Like, okay, so you take out one. So there are a couple of things that I think she was missing. One, you take out the lead ship, right? Let's say you knock out the lead ship, you cut off its head from the neck, at the neck, right? Well,
Yeah.
that's not going to stop the backup. That's
Hmm.
not going to stop the fleet that is now warping towards you. You may have taken
Right.
out the lead ship, but that's not going to scare Klingons, right? Especially when there's now a half a dozen ships. I'm not entirely certain that was going to work in that instance. Secondly, and maybe even more importantly, I just want to say, how long did it take? What we don't know is how long did it take for the Vulcans and Klingons to actually come to a peace, right?
Hmm.
it may have taken centuries. Yes, the Vulcans fire on Klingons potentially, right? But it's not like you fire first and they're like, oh, whoa, whoa. The Klingons aren't going to be like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
And
They
would they
fired
retreat?
first, right? And they retreat, or and they and they respect you immediately. That's probably going to take time and a lot of bloodshed.
Is it even in there? Like, are they allowed to retreat?
Yeah, I think that I that's a gray area because a lot of times it's like, you know, a lot of times no.
Mhm.
Um, and then sometimes there's not, right? And that's the great, and that's one of the things of Star Trek where it's like, some Klingons are strong, some Klingons are weak, and then they have this air of like, oh, they won't retreat and they are a warrior class, but however, they will at times find peace. Hint, hint, Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country. Um, so yeah, no, I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny because you were like taking the argument for what it is and like taking it to its end. Um, where for me, I was just kind of suspending logic
Yeah,
that because she was stating it as a thing that had worked without necessarily like getting into the nitty gritty of the things we're talking about.
yeah,
Like, well, then what happens? Does it only work when you disable the ship and thus it can't respond? Did those Klingons retreat? Did those
yeah.
Klingons like hail you and say, "Okay, you got us"?
Right,
Well,
exactly.
well, like because like none of those things seem in line with the Klingons that we know, who are
No,
war is their religion, never back down, and it doesn't matter if you strike
yes,
first or not.
yes,
And if anything, that would seem to inspire them to get more backup
yes,
and come as an even more devastating force. Like, so those are all thoughts that I had, but again, I was just kind of suspending belief and just being like, well, it worked. I don't know how, but the part where they say the Klingons don't understand anything other than aggression, that part is logical. That does
that
make
is
sense.
logical.
That holds
Yes,
up.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That holds up. Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
But what we didn't hear is how long did it take?
Yeah. Okay.
It wasn't, just two torpedoes and a destruction of one
Mm.
ship.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
so the
yeah.
other so the other thing too, the other there's actually a couple things, but it's hard to not mention that Michael Burnham, because her family was killed, seemingly killed by as a result
Klingons.
of a Klingon attack, that
Hmm.
wasn't also kind of driven, like she was allowing her emotions to drive
Hmm.
that decision. Um, but the other major character thing that I'm worried about is that Michael Burnham will be another sibling to Spock that we just never have heard about.
Oh, so you think she's
Which,
part Vulcan?
no, I don't think she's part Vulcan,
Oh,
but
because Spock
in
is
Star
part
Trek,
human.
yeah, yeah, no, 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 well, no, but the thing is, I think, okay, because they may take this from Star Trek 5. Um, well, Star Trek 5 is a little bit more concrete, but like Spock doesn't divulge that, of personal matters unless they come to a head.
Hmm.
But Sybok is actually a son of Sarek, right? This is later. I'm kind of, spoiler alert, red
Okay.
alert here.
Yeah.
Sybok is a son of Sarek, but his mother was a Vulcan princess, but his mother dies, you know, while they were children, and so therefore they were raised as brothers. But in this case, the what's going to be interesting to see is that they incorporate that Michael has been adopted by Sarek, and
Mm.
it's another adopted sibling, and they will be raised as siblings. So it'll be interesting if
Oh.
they go down that road, because the only person that she talks to is Sarek, right? In
Mhm.
her dream while she's at the Vulcan school. And
Wow.
then when she communicates with him about how the Vulcans came to that solution. And it must be really interesting for Sarek to have another child, even, if it is that way, to have an adopted child to go into Starfleet
Yeah.
and not the Vulcan Science Academy. But anyway, we'll see. Who knows?
Um, are you going to be bummed if that happens?
I think I am going to be a little bummed. But at the same time, I mean, he's married a human and he's an ambassador, so it would behoove him. It would be a logical choice, and I could see it. Um, but like, why does she have to be? Why? Is he the only Vulcan? Like, you know, can't can't there be another Vulcan that
Yeah.
she's related to? Like, so it's very similar to the Skywalker thing, right? Where I'm
Oh, I
like,
was going to say the C3PO
really?
being created by Anakin thing.
Yeah. I'm like, can it
It's
be?
like, why?
Yeah,
Why?
why? Yeah, exactly. Like, why?
Infinite
Isn't this
possibilities.
right? Isn't this galaxy and universe big enough for more than like
Yeah.
these stories that are related to these characters that we love, enjoy, that we know and
Yeah.
love? But yeah.
Yeah. It's like they're afraid to take the risk. They have to tie it in
Yeah,
somehow
and
in
they
a concrete
don't.
way.
And they don't.
Yeah.
And they can still make it an interesting story and
Hmm.
make her an interesting character.
Yeah. I hear you, man. So, so there's that, but would you also feel like it's retconning
Yeah, oh yeah.
and that and
Oh
that and
yeah.
that would bother you?
Oh yeah. Like the messing with canon again. Like the Klingons, we've talked about that. Ugh, ugh, why? 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 Just why? And then this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to me, in my head canon is that this is a sect of Klingons that we haven't seen, and they just look way different
I
than the
mean,
others.
maybe, I
And
guess.
so, somewhere out there are the ones who look like Worf and
Yeah,
stuff.
okay.
So that's how I'm rationalizing
Okay,
it.
okay, all right. That fair. I will hold out for hope on that one. But if they
Um,
go and they're like, "Oh yeah, we have to go back to Kronos," I'm gonna be,
what
oh, I hope there's like this sub layer of like that they are this like subterranean. If we go, Kronos is the home world.
okay. And you would not like them going to Kronos?
Yeah, so but then if they were like to say, "Oh, this is a subterranean
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
outcasty kind of deal," and
Yeah.
that's why we don't ever see it.
Or they get obliterated, like that entire sect gets
Sure,
wiped out,
sure,
never to be
yeah,
seen again.
right, yeah. I could hopefully,
Be pretty dark, but
yeah,
would be one way to explain it.
yeah.
Okay. Well, um, anything else with this? I don't have anything else for this one.
Uh, the one last thing, it was interesting, just out of a kind of um it was interesting to see that that when we first meet the captain and Michael Burnham, they are going to they're trying to shoot at this well so that there's water on this pre-warp society, and they're breaking the Prime Directive again. In Star Trek,
Okay.
we are breaking the Prime Directive.
Has the Prime Directive been set yet?
Yeah,
though?
I think so. Yeah, because they make reference to it as and I've been trying to think of what they call it, and it's something number one. It's the it's you know General Order 1, I think is what they call it. And we know that to be the Prime Directive. And that was really interesting. That, here we are again, and they are trying to save a species from this 89-year storm event on this planet.
So remind me exactly what the Prime Directive is.
The Prime Directive is non-interference of pre-warp cultures and societies, so that they don't interfere with the natural course and natural development of a species. It's a principle of non-interference, which the captain's. I mean, it's not unheard of. It happened in quite a few times on Enterprise, or they broke the Prime Directive. And that's not unheard of, but it's interesting that they opened with that. And then the other thing too is, speaking of the opening, that there was a pre-credit sequence before we got to the theme song,
which was what we're talking about right now. Was that the Klingon thing, or
no. So the Klingon, they open with the speech, the Klingon speech, and then we go to the planet. They get saved, and then we have the theme song, the opening.
Okay.
Which is all instrumental.
Right.
Yeah, there was no Captain's Law, the Space of the Final Frontier or anything like that.
I did like the song better than the Enterprise song.
Oh, okay.
And so, hey, I had a question when you're talking about when they got saved. So they were not transported up. And then as far as I remember, Burnham was not transported.
No, they were transported.
So remember they made the Starfleet symbol.
Yeah,
and
the Delta.
Came down. The ship came down. It
Mm-hmm.
flew like directly over them.
And then transported them up.
Why did it have to fly down? Doesn't the transporter go like
far away?
So
that's what they were saying. So that's what they were mentioning, is that the storm event was causing interference, so that the Enterprise, the Shenzhou couldn't get a lock on them. So the the Starfleet Delta that they made was like a signal, kind of like a campfire signal, a smoke signal rather. And then the Shenzhou comes in, flies down and hovers above them and transports them up.
Okay.
I found that to be a reasonable explanation, that the huge storm was blocking their transporter signal for sure. That's definitely happened.
All right. Okay. I just didn't remember them. I thought it cut away before.
No. No.
And then I was like, oh wait, are they also retconning the transporter thing?
No. That's happened plenty of times.
Okay. All right, my man. Well, anything else with this one?
No, I think we covered it.
Cool. So do you watch the 2-episode
premiere of the
new SNP show?
The live action Star Wars Rebels. Of course I did. Yes.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I kind of loved it. I thought it was pretty great.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought Dave Filoni nailed it. I have to say, the trio of antagonists might be my favorite since Darth Vader. I thought they did an excellent job.
Oh, Balin, Morgan Elsbeth, and his apprentice.
Yeah, I thought they did excellent.
Yeah.
Just the sinister tone they struck, I felt just like the way they're kind of they just created a presence, a sinister presence that I don't think they've achieved with any of the bad guys since Darth Vader.
Oh, okay.
I think, yeah, I thought they did a
Oh,
great job there. To
awesome.
me, that was like the highlight of it. And then I loved how it was like essentially an all-female cast.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. That was a really cool choice, and I thought they all nailed it. And then what I wasn't expecting is um, it kind of felt like Sabine was the main character. Like it wasn't even Ahsoka was the main character. That
Yeah.
it was really like Sabine's show,
Yeah. Agreed.
and that was a cool surprise too.
I'm with you.
Um, because it's almost like Ahsoka's like fully actualized, and Sabine is the one who has like room to grow, and they're
Yeah.
really focused on that. So
Although it's
yeah, that
interesting
was
to
really cool.
it was interesting. Yeah, I felt that same thing. And I've read some places where it's like, well, Ahsoka, you know, she doesn't have much dialogue. It takes her a long time to kind of say 4 words, in the episode or in the 2 episodes or whatever the case might be. But yeah, I totally felt that. I I thought that was I totally felt that Sabine was the main character.
I also liked how he like let things breathe, like with the star map, the way that she was slowly turning it,
Yeah,
and it like they took their time with it, and
yeah,
particularly a lot of those early scenes. For some reason, I get um, I get taken out of shows when they introduce too many characters at once.
hmm
And whenever they do like the slow burn at first, even if it's for 5 minutes, for some reason I need that to buy into it.
sure.
And that's totally what they did. And
Yes,
I thought they nailed it. And there's
awesome.
lot of space in it, not like outer space, but like just a lot of room to breathe, like in the show. And I thought it was a great thing because they could have jam packed it full of all kinds of bells and whistles, and they didn't do that. They did the slow burn thing, and I just freaking love that. So that was great. Yeah, I'm
Me
not a
too.
huge Dave Filoni fan,
I
but
know. You've
I thought it
you've
was great.
been pretty
Yeah,
critical of
yeah.
him in the past. But yeah,
And I
no,
know there was tons of Easter eggs that are over my head.
oof,
I
oh,
definitely
oh,
recognized all of the like the bas relief like stone mural thing. I recognized that from the show, but apparently it went further than that. Like some of the stuff was shot for shot from Rebels,
yeah.
that I
I don't know
didn't
if it was shot for
remember.
shot, but it was like
So no, there was
a
stuff that they showed. I
kind of
saw
like a
like a
remembrance,
comparison.
a harken back to
I'll
when
send you
the
something.
rules. Okay,
There was a split screen thing that showed the animated thing,
okay.
when somebody touched the mural, and apparently it was like exactly the same. And then like Ahsoka walks in behind them, and like the only difference was in the animated one, Ahsoka had her hood on.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, yeah. That's yes, yeah. That's true. But aren't we? So that was a question that I had was,
Hmm.
but there's been time. There has been a little bit of time that has
The
passed
only
since.
the only confirmation I have of that is that they talk about the fall of the Empire. So to me, that puts it after Endor, right?
Yeah.
Because other than that, you could I think you could be like, oh, this is just like right after
Because didn't
Rebels,
they
right?
say no? But didn't they say? Didn't Sabine say it's been a while, Master, since I've seen you to
Yeah.
Ahsoka?
Hmm.
So I think it's been a couple of years, right? So what I'm okay.
Yeah.
So what I mean is when I saw those shots, I was like, oh yeah, they pulled that from. It was like a softer remembrance of
Okay.
those scenes, not the exact scenes, but like the gentle kind of reminder that harkens back to those scenes. Not they picked those animated scenes again and put them into the live action. Although I could see it that way too.
I think the timing, I think for sure it's after the fall of Palpatine, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So just that alone makes it impossible that it's literally the same thing, but it is uh, like a precise callback.
Right.
It's a
Right. That's what I
callback,
mean.
but it's the exact same shot. But
Oh,
it
okay.
can't be the exact same event because the timeline wouldn't work. But
Right, 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 right. That's what I mean,
yeah.
is that it's the direct callback to the scenes that
Hmm.
we've seen already in Rebels. Yeah, yeah, I'm with you on that. And then I love that we went back to Corellia and Sabine stayed on Lothal. That was kind of cool. I was like, oh, that's really cool that she stayed on Lothal.
Why do you like that she stayed on Lothal?
Because that was a pivotal planet for them
Hmm.
in
Yeah,
Rebels.
yeah, that's where the Battle of the Fall, and that's where Ezra disappeared and Thrawn disappeared,
Right.
right?
And yeah, and
Isn't it
so
where Kaylin died too?
I think so. And that's why I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, cool. She didn't go off to Tatooine or something, and that she
Oh, I see what
stayed
you're
on
saying.
Lothal."
You're saying that she never left
Yeah,
Lothal.
yeah, I'm glad
Okay,
we've come
got it.
back to it is what I'm yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but you think that's because she's waiting and or looking for Ezra?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And then
Um,
I love the opening. The red text
yeah.
opening. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's cool."
I don't know why, like I feel like it's like um hallowed ground that whenever they do a Star Trek or oh my gosh, a Star Wars
Yeah.
entry, they're like afraid to do the scroll.
The
Uh
the
I
scroll
wouldn't have
the
a I
crawl
wouldn't have a
script.
problem with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause like even in Rogue One or Solo, they didn't do it. And like I really
No, they
wouldn't
did not. Yeah. No.
I wouldn't like be like, how
Did
dare
they
you?
do
I
that in Andor?
No,
No.
definitely
Okay.
not. They
Okay.
they've never done it besides the 9 movies.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But I would not I would welcome it.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
it feel Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. You took the words right out of my mouth. I'm like, dude, that's a really good idea. Just do that for every Star Wars, and then it's a Star Wars, right? That's like one of those things.
Yeah.
And I
I wish
love
they
that
would
it wasn't in
take it to the
gold,
next level though.
and
See,
it
I
was
wish
in
it
red.
was in gold.
Oh,
I wish it
really?
was,
Okay.
and it did
Okay.
the angled scroll. I wish it would do it.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I like the twist. I love it when I love it. I enjoy the nuance, the differences. Like if they did the Simpsons kind of opening, it's the same but not the same all the time.
Okay. Hmm. I know what you mean. Yeah, the chalkboard is different each time.
Yeah, the chalkboard, the thing on the couch, all that kind of stuff is always different.
Oh, right, the couch. Yep. Okay. I don't know, but to me, I feel like they completely redo it. Like when Solo, it just like flashes like Solo, and it's like,
Yeah,
and you can tell it's like a callback to the opening scroll, but it doesn't. I don't know. I wouldn't have a problem like if every show and movie did it.
me too.
I would welcome it. I think it'd be
Me
great.
too. Me too.
So
Me too. Yeah.
I do like he did it. I just wish it would have been yellow and the actual
Uh-huh,
thing.
uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. And that it
So
was angled up and then
Yeah.
going away. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not, man?
Fair
He's
enough.
Dave Filoni.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm totally excited. So
I had
had
a
we
moment.
go ahead.
Well, I had a moment when they're like, "Oh, they brought the sisters back. Like everything's gonna be like a rehashing of an old idea." But I thought the sister was amazing. The witch. Uh, I liked her
Thank
better than the
you. Thank
animated
you.
version.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you. I was like, what did you think that they brought back the seven? They didn't bring them back. They brought an ancestor, or I'm sorry, they brought a descendant of
Hmm.
theirs.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I liked it. I thought like as soon as it started, I was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna hate this. Like it's gonna be like you were saying, like a whole we have this whole universe to play with, and we have to rehash old ideas." But I thought they I thought they improved on every
Oh.
reused idea. Yeah,
Oh. Oh.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Because I almost feel like this was like Filoni's like director's cut. It's like he like
Oh,
had the big guns to do like what he.
it definitely
I mean,
was.
what he probably was proud of what he did before, but I
It
felt like
definitely
this was
was.
like,
This
yeah,
this is definitely Dave Filoni's baby, right? Because
hmm
Ahsoka is his baby. Like
yeah,
he's the one that created Ahsoka Tano, and you know, and I totally agree with you. They gave him full reins on what he's gonna want to do in this show, in this series, for sure.
hmm
So
yeah.
who do you think? So is Balin and his apprentice like? Do you think that they are going to be the first iteration of the Kylo Ren Dark
The
user?
night, the Knights of Ren.
Yeah, do you think they're like the first iteration of dark side users, but not fully integrated, as in like they're not Darths, right? You know, they're not full-fledged members, but they are dark side wielders.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Not like,
So,
like
so
so
yeah.
let me bring other people up to speed that has not ever heard my little rant or my thing.
Uh-oh.
It's not a rant, but like I always equate like, okay, here Sidious is here and Vader is up here. And
Hmm.
then down a level is Snoke and
Okay.
Kylo Ren. They are the diet versions of
Oh yeah,
Palpatine and Vader. So do you
for
think
sure.
Balin and his apprentice are on that same level as, or a similar level as uh Kylo Ren and
Yeah, I
maybe
do.
even
I
Snoke? Or
do.
do you think
And
they're even below that in the org chart?
I think, well, I think from midichlorian count, that puts him below. I think Kylo Ren is probably pretty high.
Oh, okay.
And, he had Darth Vader blood.
Sure.
Uh, so I think just because of that, they're lower. But I do think that, so the fourth antagonist, the masked one who came in at the very end of episode two, he was very Knights of Ren. Like he looks a lot like one of them in particular. And
Uh-oh, did I miss something? Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah.
yeah, I mean,
The
unless
yeah.
that was his apprentice with a mask on, and I'm just an idiot. Um,
No, I don't think so.
okay,
Because she was on the
well,
ship that he
yeah,
jumped onto.
that's why I thought it was a fourth one.
Okay,
And
yeah.
like when that person came on, I was like, oh, it's Knights of Ren. but then I looked at the pictures of the Knights of Ren, and none of them were an exact match, but there was
Right.
one of them that could have been. And so I think for that reason, I think you're right. I think they are this like cult who maybe starts to worship Darth Vader, and somehow Kylo is their leader or something eventually, or
No,
I
we're
don't know,
not
man.
there, Kylo yet. Kylo's
No,
way.
I'm saying eventually. Yeah,
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
yeah.
So you do think that they are dark side users, just not the the master and the apprentice level kind of masters. How do you
I
even
mean,
equate? How do you even say that? Like, they're not the
they're
Vader.
not Sith.
Yeah, they're
You're
not
saying they're
Sith.
not
Thank you.
Sith.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's muddy because like back in the day, it used to be there was a difference. Um, there was dark Jedi, and it used to be like in the old before pre-Disney era that there was only ever like two Sith, and then every other one was like a dark Jedi,
Hmm.
and they were just like users of the dark side of the Force. And then it seems like now there's just way more Sith, um, in the prequel era, and so I don't know the answer. I don't know,
Oh,
man.
okay, okay.
Like okay, like I don't even know if Kylo Ren was a Sith.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was.
Yeah,
That's what I was saying. Is like they're the diet versions of Vader and
yeah.
Palpatine and the Sith masters.
But I mean, was Grievous a Sith?
No, I don't think so.
But why not?
Uh, because
I mean, he's certainly a
he
diet
may
version of
have
him.
been. He may have been. No, because Count Dooku was the apprentice. And then Grievous only happens to be kind of that under level kind of deal when Count Dooku has his head chopped off.
Yeah, I
And
know what you're saying.
he could have been Sidious's apprentice for like 10 seconds. That I we're not clear on that, but yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's an example of these things just aren't crystal clear. I
Right,
don't even know
right.
if George Lucas would know the answer.
Right. No, and it's not a criticism. I'm just curious of like where Balin and his apprentice fall, you know, on this level, kind of putting it in order in my mind. But I totally forgot that, yeah, that they were that Ahsoka fought a dual bladed.
Yeah,
I'm
and he
sorry, hmm,
looked
a
like one of the Inquisitors as well.
yeah,
See, that was the other thing. I was like, oh, am I supposed to recognize this as an Inquisitor from the Obi-Wan Kenobi show? So I don't know.
or from Clone Wars and Rebels, there were Inquisitors.
Yeah, but just like with the spinning thing, that was like straight out of Kenobi.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't know. I gave up a long time ago. Once Grievous came into the picture in the prequels, I kind of gave up on trying to like having
okay,
a solid answer.
okay.
And Kylo Ren, who knows? Who knows if that's a Sith? I mean, I would say for sure Snoke is a Sith. Um,
See,
and you know what's stupid
I
is
don't
the
know.
only reason I really say that is because he has a black robe on.
When does he have a black robe on? It was
That's
gold.
it was gold.
Yeah, Snoke. It was
Are you talking?
gold.
Are you talking about? I think you're talking about in the Last Jedi, but in Force Awakens is a black robe.
How do we know he was a hologram the whole time?
It wasn't a black and white hologram. It was a hologram.
Yeah, but it wasn't in color.
Yeah, it was.
No.
His skin was blue and his robe was black.
Yeah, but he ends up not being his. Yeah, but in The Last Jedi, his skin isn't blue; it's humanish.
Okay.
Isn't it
What are
like
you getting at?
pinkish salmon, and then he's gold? I don't think at that point we get the fully colored uh hologram in Force Awakens.
Dude, there's never been a black and white hologram in Star Wars. I don't know why there all of a sudden would be a black and white hologram.
Well, it's
In
like
this,
blue and white,
Force
right?
Awakens, we've never had a non-colored, like in color hologram in Star Wars. And Force Awakens is after, 4, 5, 6, where all the holograms are in color. All the ones in episode 1, 2, 3 are in color. All I don't know. Why would this one all of a sudden not be in color?
Okay, I haven't seen Force Awakens. Excuse me. I haven't seen Force Awakens in a while, so I don't remember
Okay.
if yeah. But for me, I
Speaking of,
remember Snoke not having a gold, like this nondescript robe in Force
yeah, for
Awakens. But go
sure.
ahead, go ahead.
But no, in Last Jedi, yes, he's wearing gold.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I'm just saying, like he had one in, you know, he was J.J. Abrams' creation. So I
Yeah.
take J.J. Abrams' iteration as
Okay, okay,
more canon.
okay,
So
okay, okay, okay.
speaking of holograms, I did really like in this show with the when Hera was talking to Ahsoka,
Mm-hmm.
like they had like a dialogue, but it was like pretty intimate, like but one of them with Hera was a hologram,
Mm-hmm.
and it actually might have been Sabine and Hera, but the way they did it could have, it was like a cool choice. Like they could have just been standing in the same room, but they were like, let's just Star Wars this up. So let's make one of them a hologram. And
Uh-huh.
like I thought it just worked so well. And I just really enjoyed that scene.
Okay. Because yeah, she was a hologram in quite a few scenes between Ahsoka and Sabine, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just thought that was like an interesting way to like keep it very Star Wars,
Mm-hmm.
but still have like they're acting like they're in the same room.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it just never feels like that when there's a hologram. It always does feel like it is a phone call and
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
way
yeah,
far away. But
yeah.
this it felt like Hera was right there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I
So
love
I
that they
enjoyed that.
cast Ewan McGregor's wife, daughter
Yeah,
as Hera.
as Hera, wife. Yeah,
Wife. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
yeah. I didn't even know that his wife was an
Did
actress. That
not
was
know
kind of
that
cool.
until you sent
Yeah,
that post. That was really cool.
yeah.
But
So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to this.
me too. Me too. I'm excited. Um, does she die?
I think so. But I mean, I think she might last a couple seasons.
Yeah, yeah, sure, 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 sure.
But I don't know. I like this better than Kenobi. I
So
like it better than the Mandalorian.
the one thing I must say, I didn't realize this, but I'm like, wow. Ahsoka really does quit a lot, which is not a criticism. It's not a criticism, but like, I'm like, yeah, she walked away from the Jedi Order, and then she walks away from Sabine. I was like, oh yeah, and it's
Yeah,
again, it's not a criticism. You have full right. to like change her mind. And I actually agreed with her leaving the order after they kind of turned their backs on her a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
If we
Yeah,
remember
no, I agree.
from Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're dealing with the dark side, you should not follow that path.
Yeah. But
So I agree. I think that's, yeah.
oh, and the other thing I wanted to mention, I absolutely love how, I don't know about you, that they are mirroring that the New Republic, and I want to see if you think that they've done this intentionally. They kind of just flipped the Empire. Like you could kind of kit bash it and just make it a Star Destroyer or whatever, and have Imperial whatever replace the New Republic.
Mm-hmm.
But I love how they kind of just mirrored that in my mind. Right? Like it's the different side of the same coin, which it is. But they arrested the Imperial, loyalists at the Corellia, shipyards, and the New Republic captain on the ship kind of a little imperially, just on the good side, just yeah, I love how they did that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. So do you think that was meant to be like a direct Star Trek reference? You have the bridge thing from that guy you're talking about at the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Oh, interesting.
That was like it felt so Star Trek at the beginning.
Yeah. Interesting.
I don't know. Is Filoni a Star Trek guy? Is he a Trekkie?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. But who knows? But yeah, no, that was really interesting.
Yeah, and there could be a Han Solo thing too, because he is from Corellia.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
So I do wonder if there will be a child Han Solo moment. You would have to be like an infant.
No. We're after.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're
You're
after.
totally right.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I just did. Yeah, I lost track of the timeline. Okay.
Yeah. No, we're after the fall of Endor.
Yeah. See, it's confusing. Okay. Then if there was a Han Solo thing, it would be very, I don't know. It would be like, here's what happened to that lady Proxima or whatever that weird slug lady is. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. Probably not. It's just a weird choice, though, the Corellia thing. I mean, because Corellia has always been a shipbuilding place. Like this Corellian freighters and stuff has always been a big part of Star Wars. But I don't know. Interesting choice.
Yeah, I thought it was cool that we went back to Corellia. Haven't seen it in a while. And I love that that there were still, I love that they still have the Imperial remnants, that they haven't completely gone away.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. With the witches back in the mix, there's a lot that can happen.
Yeah.
There's, the way that they can tap into the Force without actually being Force wielders.
Right. I'm gonna be interesting to. I think it'll be really interesting to see how much Morgan Elsbeth has, how much she's been able to contain or retain, being a descendant of those Wiccans, of the, what are they called again? The Seven Sisters
The sisters
of Dayugagi or Dayu something.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't remember.
yeah.
But because she's a descendant of theirs, I'm interested in seeing how much power she does have, right? Other than,
Yeah. Yeah. I know, man. See, that's the thing though, is like, these big epics, they put an emphasis on hereditary powers. Star Wars is no exception, with the lineage getting passed down. But the sisters seem to be, in my mind, this like back door into that power.
Yeah.
And it almost doesn't matter how far removed she is, as long as she was able to like take up the practice. I feel like she could be as powerful.
And I'm curious, because of this, does this also kind of like make you more interested into it, because it does have much more of the, we're getting a lot more fantasy, folklore, Lord of the Ringsy, maybe even Zelda-ish kind of like the fantasy mythical kind of stuff now with this part of Star Wars that we didn't really get before.
Didn't get in any of the Star Wars before.
Yeah, exactly. Until Clone Wars, probably. Where we get the Bandu, and then the sisters, and then all that.
I see what you're saying.
The fantasy,
like
kind of
the aesthetic of that type of fantasy.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. The occult.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Or like Gandalf is a wizard.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so we're getting more of that now.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't know. I never really thought about it. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that stuck out to me in this one.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh.
I was just kind of lumped it all in, like magic is magic, no matter where it comes from. But I do see the distinction. That is interesting. So I don't know, man.
Okay.
So yeah. I am more drawn to the like divine like intervention, like the chosen one narrative.
Yeah.
So because like even though Lord of the Rings has the occult like that in it, it does feel like the gods are at work, and they're the ones who are choosing the heroes. So,
okay.
I don't know. Yeah. Like Gandalf is sent to Middle Earth.
Right. Yes.
From the heavens.
Right.
So.
In all colors.
And even when he dies, he says, "But I was sent back." But who's sending it back? And it's the Valar.
Right. Yeah.
So, and those are like the demigods. So, well, we've been talking for an hour and a half, buddy.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like an hour and a half, does it?
It doesn't. No, it doesn't though.
Okay.
It never does.
No, it doesn't. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. If
Thanks
you're
for hanging
watching this
in.
on YouTube, yeah, thanks for watching.
Yeah.
And we appreciate it. Follow us on all the things: Twitter, Spotify, TikTok, Apple Podcasts, and now YouTube.
Click the subscribe, the bell,
Yeah.
all that stuff on YouTube, whatever that stuff is.
Mm-hmm. Like and subscribe.
There you go.
And
Thank you.
yeah, we appreciate it. Yeah. And until next time, live long and prosper.
And may the force be with you.
See ya. All right, Jason, I'm gonna
All right.
kill the Zoom,
Yep.
which will kill the YouTube feed. So
Yep.
thank you, my man,
Thank you. Have a good trip tomorrow.
and appreciate it. Have a
Hope
good
it's
weekend.
uneventful. Yep. You too.
Later, man.